Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, and we got another recap with Sistas Season 3, Episode 3, The Gift of Goodbye. But before we jump into this drama, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. If you like the video, smash the like button and drop a comment down below. So, it left off with last week where we saw Zac talking to this lady about her lost package, and I guess she lost it on the plane. He went to retrieve it and bring it back, and you can tell Zac is trying to get his hands out there to see if he can get a tip. Her tip was to give him a card with this information on it about a stock tip. Now he's looking like, okay, what is this? And she said, you know what, if you take that card and invest in that information I just gave you, you're gonna be a rich man. And he's looking at her like, yeah, right, really? I ain't got time for this. So the thing is, she was like, I'm serious. You know, if you take that money that you have and put it on this stock, I shouldn't be telling you this because it's a secret, but this company is going public. You need to go ahead and jump on this. And so Zac kind of was listening. He kind of wasn't. I like the fact that Zac continued to be a little bit of a hustler with side money and stuff. So we'll see what happens with that later on. But as he was coming away with this information, Nosy Danny, this girl, she like, who you talking to? And who was that woman? And why are you talking to her? And I'm like, Danny, really? Every female that Zac talking to don't mean that he trying to hit up. I mean, seriously. And he was trying to tell her that and to tell her to mind her business, which she need to. So now Zac decides that he wants to go up to see Fatima at work. And she caught him, you know, creeping in the office. And of course, Andi like, what is he doing here? You need to go talk to that man. I don't want to talk to him. So she finally got the nerve to talk to this man. And the thing is that obviously he's catching feelings for Fatima. And Fatima got feelings for him, in my opinion. It's just that she's trying to get over this whole thing with him and Karen. Now, I don't think it was appropriate for him to show up to her job like that, but according to him, she hasn't been answering her phone. So this was her way of, his way of trying to get her attention. So he definitely got in when he could fit in regards to a conversation with this girl. So she brought him into an office because he was pretty much making a scene in front of the receptionist. And I don't mean like out of control, but talking where everybody can hear their business. And he's like, you know what? Hey, I've been trying to get you and you're not answering the phone. And, my thing is, I think we have chemistry. I know you feel it too. And honestly, I do think they have chemistry. I wish they would just quit playing around with each other. Because again, if you listen to one of my previous 2 episodes, Fatima did not define their relationship. Now, when he goes and he, she was free to see whoever. He was definitely free to see whoever. He ended up dipping and dabbing with Karen. But now she mad. Okay, but you didn't define the relationship. Y'all was just kicking it. This was a situationship. So, obviously he realizes there's more there, but she holding back. And I just hate that, I know she got a process of feelings and whatnot, but I do like the fact that he said that, he wants to be a provider and protector, but her between the strength that both Fatima and Karen has, he can't do that. But with Fatima, he wants to step up to her worth. And I honestly like what he said. Let me know what you think about that, because he wants to be a better man for her because of the fact that she invested in him. She didn't emasculate him as much as Karen did. But she's still hard-hearted about this thing. So we'll see what happened with these two. So now Zac decides to show up at this woman's house that he met at the airport and talk about stock tip that, she gave him. Now, the thing about this stock tip is that there's a little bit more information that comes with this thing. And he was hesitant. I don't even think he drank that alcohol that she had poured for him, because I wouldn't have either. I don't know this person. I'm on a hotel suite. She already tipsy. Nah, I'm glad Zac, he took the drink, but I really don't think he drunk it or drunk it, whatever the term is. Anywho, so she goes on to explain what the situation is about. She got 50 G's in a suitcase in her room, and she wants him to invest this money because she's going through a divorce with this senator that she's married to, and pay her back slowly with this. I'm like, you don't know this woman from a hole in the wall. And you talking about $50,000, and her husband is a senator, and they going through a divorce. I was like, don't do it. Don't do it, Zac. You already trying to get your life on track. But this whole storyline, it must be something new that Tyler is trying to throw in there, because it just don't make sense, and it just came out of nowhere to me. There's another scene in this episode that didn't make sense to me, and they're probably trying to add something to it, or maybe it was a filler scene. But I'm glad either way that Zac decided to walk away from this thing, because obviously it's just way too much to be getting in the middle of a political person, his wife, a divorce, $50,000, and insider trading, because that's what that is. She is spreading stock tips about a company going public to cash in on, and yeah, that's a crime. So, and like he said, you ain't never been in jail. This seemed like a setup to me. I've been in jail. I know what this like. I don't blame him. I think it was crazy, and for Zac to really, kind of wake up to this whole thing. I'm glad that, he turned her down. He didn't look happy, but there was this weird look on her face. I don't know if this was a setup. Why him? It was just a weird scene, a weird storyline. And after listening to, this whole thing, I don't know. It's just crazy. I think they're trying to take a storyline in a different direction with this whole thing. But for Zac to come, if anything, he should have just took the stock tip and didn't show up. You got the information and leave it alone. But it was just, I don't know. Let me know what you think about this storyline, guys, because it just didn't make sense to me. Obviously, like I say, Tyler Perry is going in a different direction, but it definitely left me in a state of confusion. Okay, so let's now talk about Sabrina and her shenanigans. So Sabrina is in her feelings. A lot of stuff went down between Jacobi and Calvin. And of course, Maurice is trying to get in. She won't let him in the office to talk to her. And now Jacobi need help. I'm going to put that in quotation marks, with work stuff. And of course, Maurice like, let me see if she going to let him in. So he goes in there talking about, I got a business question. Boy, if you don't get... I'm like, yeah, right. He knew what he was trying to do. He wanted to get his foot in the door so he can break this whole conversation open, or break this ice to this conversation with Sabrina. And it was just extremely awkward. And, Jacobi is like, look, can we talk about this? I'm sorry. I wasn't in my right frame of mind. I was drunk. And she wasn't even trying to hear it. And he was, she was like, how could you do this? And, you contacted. He was like, well, whoa. You called me. Which she did. She called him. Because remember that conversation she had with Danny? She called him. So, it's like, Sabrina, come on now. Part of all this nonsense that's going on with her and Jacobi and her and Calvin primarily starts with her. So speaking of Calvin walks in because his account is jacked up. Money's missing, checks about to bounce. Of course, Maurice is like, you better make sure you have some money for my rent. But Calvin was like, no, I got you on the rent, but I got to pay my bills. I need my money. Have you talk to Sabrina because she's not answering the phone and I need to get my money. And, of course, Maurice is like, okay, I'm going to help you out and whatnot. This whole thing is so crazy because it should have been strictly business with this thing, but it's so messy because of everything that Sabrina got going on between these two guys. And so, of course, Calvin is like, is she in her office? But is that dude up in there with her? The blinds are closed and everything. And Calvin is trying to make it look like, well, I don't know. Well, maybe not. And so, of course, Maurice goes over there to try to, get Sabrina to come out and have a conversation. Well, Calvin jumped the gun by yelling, you need to come out here. And of course, Sabrina opened the door. Jacobi is coming out. And he's mad because Maurice didn't warn him that Jacobi was in there. You could see the back of his striped shirt through the bottom of their blinds. I saw it. Maybe that was a scene error. I don't know. In the meantime, Sabrina trying to be hard-nosed. This man is like, look, I didn't run up these charges. I was scammed by one of Maurice's friends. And she like, no, do you have a police report? And I'm like, really? But you would do it for, who was that? Karen, who was trying to, when that whole thing with Zac went down with those bounce checks. But nope. Sabrina maintained her stubbornness in this whole situation. This man has clearly had been scammed. Maurice seconded. He was like, yes, he didn't do this. You need to get this man his money back and reverse these charges. And she just wasn't having it. She was stuck in her own way, stuck in their way. And then, of course, Calvin is throwing shots at Jacobi and all of this, and it just went way, way left. And dude is like, did you tell her the magnitude of this whole thing? I need my money. I got bills to pay. And she was like, no, you're going to have to just, figure out another way, go to another location, and I'm like, really, Sabrina? And he was like, why are you even mad at me for? And he's absolutely right. She started this. She started it. And she was definitely being very unprofessional. I mean, Jacobi had to tell her that in the office as well. Can we be professional about this? Yeah, they had some things away from work, but now we are at work, and she has a coworker that needs help and has a client that needs his money. We need to put the emotions aside. However, it got worse. And, the thing is, he grabbed Sabrina trying to stop her from walking away. And what do you know? Jacobi sucker punched him.
Damn! You got knocked the fuck out.
And he screamed on the way down. He was out cold. Now, here's the other crazy thing. Because of the fact, of course, that Calvin goes for Jacobi and Jacobi's defending himself, after this whole tussle and the punch, he gets suspended. So you got one guy on the floor who's out cold and the other guy whose job is on the line, all because of Sabrina. That's crazy. That's crazy. And he's looking at me like, really? I'm losing my job. She was like, well, you suspended for now. You suspended. And of course, you can't assault a customer at work, but he looking at it as self-defense. In the meantime, once Jacobi leaves, this man is out cold on the floor. Calvin is like out. He been out for a while. They sitting up there talking about, did you hear him scream? And of course, Sabrina, that probably adds more to how she feel about this whole thing about Calvin. But, is it worth it? I mean, Sabrina has been all over the place. She's been all over the place. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But Calvin come up swinging, pretty much trying to show, oh, I got this. Where is he? Man, that man sucker punched you and left and walked out the door. It's over. It's over. You need to get your money, go put some ice on that eye, and go home. Or go home and put some ice on that eye. Whatever way works for you. Man, they need to run far away from this girl. I mean, right now she don't know what she wants. She playing games. And in the meantime, while they trying to figure her out, he gets injured, get involved in a fist fight over this whole situation, him trying to get his money back and everything. And then, of course, like I said, with Jacobi. But then this girl turns around and says, you started this.
What? Bro, what are you talking about?
I don't blame Maurice. Was like, okay, yeah, I started this. I was the one who had sex with Calvin and then turned around and stuck a vibrator up him and then turned around and went and told all my friends. And then at the same time, my coworker, I call him. I sleep with him too. And then at the same time, these two guys end up meeting. They get into a fight. He almost loses his job. And then, of course, he got a black eye. But that's my fault. Man, Maurice read her the riot act. And I was over here cheering for her. All she could do was put her head down and walk away. Because she don't want to take accountability for any of this. And a lot of this is on her. I mean, if she had been honest and walked away early from Calvin, this wouldn't have been an issue. But then you trying to cover up and look for something rough around the edges with Jacobi while this whole other situation ain't cleaned up yet with Calvin. That's on you. So now he's back at home. He's trying to nurse his cheek and his face and his eye because, of course, he's having a little after pain from where Jacobi clocked him. And, honestly, he should be done. I don't think he's done because obviously there's a part of him that still want to get to Sabrina because why are you even talking about it? He was like, I need to be done with this. I'm just so over this. And I'm like, yeah, after being punched by a dude that she was messing with and he was at her house and you caught him. Yeah, you need to be done, Calvin, with this girl, but he decides he gonna take a knee-jerk reaction and decide to go and just I'm finna go buck wild. And of course, this is so funny. I mean, Maurice is hilarious. He was like, "Nuck if you buck," and all this so crazy stuff. And of course, he was trying to be suggestive with him, and Calvin wasn't feeling it, and he was talking about how his jaw hurt. And then, of course, Calvin was like, I want my jaw to hurt too. I'm telling you, Maurice is hilarious, but they need to leave Sabrina crazy behind alone. All right, so let's talk about what's going on with Andi. So Gary decides, remember from the previous episode, he called the other girls, Karen, Danny, and Sabrina, to meet meet Andi at the photo shoot. Well, he also calls Fatima because he gives this whole story about, I got a big surprise for her and you should be there to support her. And she like, I don't know nothing about no fashion shoot. What are you talking about? Because she was about to transfer him away from her phone and hang up on him. But, she was like, let me see what's going on. So, of course, she's going in there trying to be, a little passive and do some, as they call it, fact finding. So, she's like, do you need anything? Do you want anything? And I'm like, oh boy, how subtle can she be? So, the whole thing about what she got going on and, she gave her, this information for filing a police report, and she was like, what's going on? Can you tell me? And of course, Andi was like, if I want you to know, I would have told you. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So she backed down from that, and so she's trying to still get her information about what do Andi know about this fashion shoot Gary called her about. So, she was like, well, what you doing later? And so, of course, Andi was like, oh, I have an appointment. And she was like, I don't remember you having an appointment on the schedule. And then, of course, she broke down and she told her about the fashion shoot. So Fatima actually got the facts that she was looking for with regards to this fashion shoot. And it was so funny when she walked out that office. She was smiling and kikiing with Andi, and she got over there like, yeah, what is this mug up to? It was funny, but she definitely got the information that she was looking for. Now, this other scene was kind of interesting. I don't know where they're trying to lead into the fact that Fatima might be trying to be an attorney, because she was like, I want to do what you do, but I don't know if I could deal with whatever this client had going on with this woman that was taking this client to the bank with all his money. And she was like, I wish he would, and of course, as an attorney, she's telling her, first of all, you got to have no judgment. It's one thing to get the information, but no judgment. Where are they going with this scene? I have no idea. I don't know if this was a filler scene that Tyler put in this episode. But this guy who just shows up unannounced to the office and her going to get this cake and coffee and stuff, it just didn't make sense to me. So I really don't have too much to comment on that. So again, are they bringing in a new storyline like they're doing with this senator's wife who's going through a divorce with stock tips? I don't know. But, I didn't see what the interest is in that. But I did like the conversation that Andi had about Zac with her. Because she said, Karen is my best friend. And this is the only thing I'm going to say about it. I like Zac. I just don't think Zac is good for her. Which he isn't. As much as they may have a sexual chemistry, Karen emasculates him too much. I think he's better off with Fatima. So now we're at the fashion shoot. And Andi looked absolutely gorgeous in that dress. And, she's smiling and cheesing like she's in the actual fashion shoot. Fatima shows up and be her support system. They're looking at all the pictures because she looked really good. I was, wondering how this was going to go. Because remember, we don't know what Gary has going on, right? But the pictures are gorgeous. So he definitely, whoever this guy, is, he seems like he's an actual photographer that Gary knows. And even she said, I didn't know he knew a photographer. But then the other girls show up. And of course, they're suspicious. They don't know what's going on. They're looking at the place. Everything is all good. But Karen comes up in there with this stank attitude. She ain't saying much. She's just looking around. And then, of course, Fatima is there as well. Because we all got this tension in the air at this place with Zac and all of that stuff. But the photographer sees the other ladies that come in and offer them to be bridesmaids in this photo shoot. And, they were excited. But one person, which was Danny, was like, because he said, I'll pay you $500 when the shoot is over. She was like, where the dress is at? And I probably would have too. Where the dress is at? $500? Why not? But seriously, and they asked Fatima to do so too. So it gets a little bit awkward in the dressing area where the bridesmaids' dresses was. And, the girls was like, should we be doing this? And Danny was like, I'm here. I don't give a, why not? And so, of course, she was like, just show me my size and I'm going to try on this dress and give me my $500. So the other girls got excited, especially Sabrina, because she was really excited about this. But then that left Fatima and Karen alone. And so Fatima like, you wear about a size 2, 4? And she like, how you know my size? And I'm like, really? And she was like, I used to be a stylist, so, I think you wear 2 or 4. But with that remark, girl.
Oh, you crazy.
And it would be crazy to mess with Fatima too. She don't want to go. She don't want to go there with her. But she took her little dress, and even Fatima tried to be nice to Karen. You know, telling her, you know what, I'm sorry. And she was like, nope, I don't even want to talk about it. Y'all wasn't together. You were with Aaron. Seriously, Karen, you need to get over yourself. Alright, so now the fashion shoot is happening. The girls look gorgeous. Everybody's smiling. And I mean Sabrina especially, because she enjoying every minute of this. Karen still got her stank face on. I mean, Karen, please. But everybody is excited, and Gary shows up, all suited and booted. And so, you know, everybody's looking at him like, why are you all dressed up? You know, this is supposed to be a photo shoot that she was doing until he dropped that bombshell. Because the girls was looking like, oh, no, what he got going on? And he excused the stand-in groom of this photo shoot. And Danny looked like her. She's shooting daggers through her eyes. But the biggest thing is, he said, this is not a photo shoot. I actually want to propose to you, and I want you to marry me today. And I don't think nobody on that set was ready for that. You can tell by their faces. They're like, oh my God, look what we became a part of. And I think that's absolutely wrong to do, because them girls, he put all them in the middle of that on the spot. So, you know, we'll see what happened next week. And it gives us a preview of next week where, of course, the girls are trying to stop him. Preston having a conversation with Zac, because Zac is trying to get information on this secret stock tip. And then this scene here where we see Maurice end up with the dude that stole Calvin's money. And we had one sucker punch this week. Well, it looked like we got another one next week. And it is so funny how them people are looking at him as he didn't punch this dude and drag him out. So we'll catch on to that drama next week. So let's do our post notification shout out. If you want to be shouted out, drop a comment down below and I will see you and shout you out. The first one goes to Bayoma777. Thank you for your comment and your engagement. I really, truly appreciate it. And Tammy Dale, thank you for your comment as well. And I really enjoyed that. So until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you soon.